Hey guys, Welsknight here and welcome back to another episode of Vault Hunters. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. I am having a fantastic day, and guess what? Today is a big day. As you saw in the montage at the beginning of the video, I ran a couple vaults between episodes, and we have enough star essence to craft 2 knowledge stars now. Between this and the star essence that we already have, today we are getting into the create mod. I am so excited to do something other than just running vaults. It should be a good one. I already went ahead and opened all of the relic booster packs and the mystery boxes and rolled all the vault gear. Nothing really to write home about. None of the trades are particularly amazing. Pretty standard loot. But the big thing is star essence. And we actually got super lucky. The first vault that we ran was a horde vault, which means +2 gilded chests. There was just gilded chests everywhere, and we got almost all of this star essence in that one vault. It was fantastic. Also, I got a tubium ore, and now this is the part where we gotta get a little bit lucky. So if we take all these ores, and I'm going to fortune all of these, I think. But basically, if we look at our collection of ores, when it comes to making a pog, which, by the way, when we get into the create mod, we are going to need a pog, because we will need to make a windmill bearing, basically to do anything whatsoever with the mod, and that requires a pog. So, yeah. Now, when it comes to making a pog, we have at least 3 of every single gem, except for one, and that is tubium. I have 1 single tubium ore. If we fortune this, and we get lucky with our Fortune 6 pickaxe, we could get 5 or 6 tubium gems, and then I would actually be able to make 3 pogs. If we get unlucky, we could get no gems. And then sad face. So, let's do it. Okay, well, at least we got 1. And there we go. 2 knowledge stars. We've got our skill points. And finally, we can unlock an actual mod that does something fun. So, create. We now have it. Okay, so here's the deal with create. If you are not familiar, the basic idea is you create machinery using belts and cogwheels and all sorts of things that all basically generates from rotational force. Now, the first thing we are going to need is we're going to need a pog, so that we can actually get our rotational force going. So let's go ahead and make one of those. Now, what do we need the pog for? Well, we need to make a windmill bearing. This guy. So I'm going to need 2 black opals. I'm going to need some vault diamonds. And then we're going to need a turntable, which is just a slab and some shafts. How do we make shafts? Andesite alloy. Okay, and I'm actually just gonna make a stack of this, because this is like the base thing that is used for basically everything in Create. Like, you will go through so much of this that I think it's worth it. So let's just grab a piece of wood, make our turntable, and now we can make our windmill bearing. So this by itself does nothing. It doesn't do anything whatsoever. We are going to also need a radial chassis, which is made with 2 andesite alloy and some stripped logs. So let's just grab... will it work with these? It might. Let's find out. I've got a bunch of these just sitting around. That will totally work. Okay, cool. So there's the radial chassis. We're also going to need some slime balls. And then we're going to need a whole bunch of... Where are they? You know what? These. We're going to need sail frames and white sails. Let's just start with a stack of sail frames. Then we'll grab some wool. Go like so, and like that. And that will make 64 white sails, which is obviously quite a lot. So now, this is basically everything we need to make the windmill. So for the moment, just for demonstration purposes, let's go up several blocks, like so. Okay, and then what we will do is put down our windmill bearing like... that didn't work very well. We want our windmill bearing to be facing out. Is there a wrench for create? We need golden sheets, which means we need a presser. Okay, so we're actually going to have to do a little bit more than I thought. This is fine. Let me get a few things together, and also we need to build a windmill. We also got to figure out where we want our create stuff to go, because I don't necessarily want it to be in the middle of the base, because it's going to take up a ton of space, since we're essentially going to be powering all of our create stuff off of this one machine. So maybe the thing to do would be to actually put it over, like, behind the base, maybe? Okay, I should probably show this, I guess. What we need to do is make a mechanical press right here. And this is the recipe. It's a little expensive, but it's not absurd. So we need 2 gears, and then we're going to need a block of iron. 1 more iron. There we go. And then 4 more of these black opals. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was 5. Put 1 back. There we go. And that should be everything, right? Yes. Okay. So this is the mechanical press. This is how we make the gold sheets. Then I need a hand crank. And thankfully, this thing is not stupid expensive. It is a source of power. Thankfully, it's not ridiculous. So the way that this guy works is actually super easy. If we put down any block, doesn't really matter what, and then we put the mechanical press right here above it like so, we can take gold ingots, toss a gold ingot on there like that, put down our hand crank, and it will slowly crank into golden sheets, just like so. And we needed 3 of these to make the wrench. So, now I think it will only do 1 at a time. Yeah, it will only do 1 at a time. So there we go. We've got our 3 for the wrench. And wrench. Okay, so for this guy, we need a large cogwheel. We've got sticks, and then we need 2 of any of the fancy gems. I guess we'll take 2 Uberline, since we have a bunch. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so now we have a wrench. This can be used to rotate things. So if, for example, we have our windmill bearing, and it's not facing the way we want, we can rotate it. Thank goodness. So that will make this windmill building process much, much easier. So now I just need to get the stuff together to build the actual windmill. Well, my friends, I have spent a few hours, as you can see, in a creative testing world trying to come up with a windmill design that I like. And I think I finally got one. We're going to go with something. I wanted something that was like fairly simple, nothing overly complicated or like over detailed or anything like that, but something that was also very functional. And this is what I came up with. Now, it's pretty straightforward. We're using marble from quark. We're using spruce. We're using some of this rocky stone that I've got a bunch of. And then we've got the actual windmill itself. This thing is actually pretty cool. We'll be able to hit this and it will actually rotate, generate power. This is a maximum powered windmill. There is a limit. It can generate up to, I think it's 8,192 force units or something like that. Engineer's goggles. Let's just toss these on. Yeah, 8,192 stress units. That is the maximum, and that's determined by how many blocks are connected to the radial chassis here that are either wool or sail blocks. And if you have at least 128 total, doesn't matter if it's wool or if it's white sails, they're exactly the same, but as long as you have at least 128 blocks connected, then it will be at the max power. Anything beyond that, if I do like 135 blocks or 200 blocks, whatever, it doesn't matter. Anything beyond 128 doesn't actually make it any more powerful, but this has exactly 128 wool and sail blocks connected in this pattern. Also, the pattern doesn't actually matter. You could literally just make 128 blocks connected to one side. It would still work just fine. It doesn't check that. But yeah, this is a max power windmill. Now, the reason I'm showing you this in creative mode is because I've already gone to all the trouble of building this, and, that's a lot of work. So what we're actually going to do is take advantage of one of the really cool things in Create, which is the schematic cannon. And this thing will actually build things for you. You still have to provide it with the resources, of course, but it will basically do all the work for you. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to grab a block. Is that about where we need to be? Looks to be. That looks pretty good. We could scoot it to here. There we go. And we can right-click this, and then you can see it, does, a little box, right? And ultimately, we're going to want to bring it up. But I need the other block, which is going to go right here. But up... Oh, actually, I'm going to have to go this way a bit. That's fine. All right, so this is high enough. And then we just got to bring it out to... Looks like about there. Does that look right? Yes. Okay. So let's get rid of this. There we go. And then we go here. And then we should be able to break the guide blocks. Oop. Break the guide blocks. And then if we right-click one more time, it will ask us to create a name. And we'll just say Windmill. There we go. So this is now saved in my Minecraft directory. I now have it actually saved on my computer. So I'll be able to access it from within my Create world. Now, one thing I want to make note of, as far as I can tell, the schematic in Quill does not actually have a recipe. So I don't think you can craft this in Create or in survival mode in this mod pack. It's totally fine for, right now we're in a creative testing world, so I can just, grab one in creative. But if you're trying to copy a structure that's already built in your survival world, I don't know that you're going to be able to do it without cheating one of these in. But we don't actually need it to have the schematic cannon rebuild it in survival, so it shouldn't be a big deal. And this thing is, once again, only used to actually save the structure that you're trying to create a schematic for. Now, the next step is we need to craft a schematic table, which is just 3 oak slabs and 2 smooth stone, so super cheap, and then the schematic cannon, which is super cheap for the most part. You need a block of iron, you need a cauldron, but beyond that, super easy, and a dispenser. But that's all good. Then we need to make an empty schematic, which is just a piece of paper and a light blue dye. So now, what we want to do is sleep, because it's bedtime. But after we wake up in the morning, let's just throw down our schematic table right here. This is fine. We put this guy in. If you have, right now we only have one schematic saved. We only have the windmill. But if we had multiples, if I had, say, 5 different structures that I had saved as schematics, I would click on this and it would open like a drop-down menu, and I could choose a different one. But we have the windmill selected here. We put in our empty schematic and we hit the little check mark button, and there we go. We now have a schematic. So this will tell us about it, and this will tell us the controls. So now let's go out back where I actually want to put this windmill, and I think I want it to go like right about here. So what we're going to do is toss down our schematic cannon, and then we're going to grab the windmill, and we'll say right about there. Okay, so this is where I want it to go, but I'm not super happy. I want it facing that way. So we have a couple options. If I want to move it back and forth, I hold left alt. Oh, well, that actually opens up a thing. There may be a conflict here because that's conflicting with other stuff. So let's see. Let's change this to, I don't know, right alt. Sure, that'll work. Okay, so right alt, we can change our thing down here at the bottom from like move, whatever, right? We can hold control and move it back and forth. If I want to move it, say, this direction, we just face this side instead, and we can do it like that. And what we really want is rotate. So we hold control and rotate it to face the way that we want. And we want it to go right about there, I think. Does that look pretty good? Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. I think I actually want to move it maybe a little bit closer. Let's see here. Left alt. That's so weird, but I'm not going to be using this all that often. So here we go. And then we'll just push it maybe like 2 blocks that way. Is that a bit better? Yeah, that seems a little bit better. Okay, there we go. So we do that, and then what we want to do is take this and throw it into the cannon. Now, at the moment, this isn't going to do anything. And the reason for that is we need to provide it with resources and fuel. And it uses gunpowder as fuel, which we should have a relatively okay amount of. We'll just grab a stack of it. If I remember correctly, it's been a long time since I've actually used one of these, but if I remember correctly, it doesn't like suck through fuel insanely quickly. So that should all be good. Now, I wish, and maybe there's a way to do it that I'm not aware of, but I wish that when you looked at the cannon or at the schematic, like if you held shift, it would give you a summary of, actually, place books here there might actually be a way to do this. I was just going to say, I wish there was a way to see the full list of resources, but there might actually be a way to do this, and I've just never done it this way before. That would be amazing. Let me grab a book. Let's just see, will this actually work? And now it may also require a book and quill. But let's just find out. If I toss that in here... No, there we go. Look at that. It gives us a full list of all the materials we need. That's so awesome. Okay, fantastic. This is actually even better than I thought. So, we need to put down a chest right here next to it. It will suck stuff from the chest. And then I've got my checklist of materials that we need. So let me get all of this stuff together, and I'll put it in the chest, and then once we give this thing some gunpowder, it will start building it for us. All right, according to the checklist, I should have everything I need in this chest right here. So let's just plop that stuff in there so I don't accidentally grab it. Toss all of that into here. And then we just grab the gunpowder, put the windmill bearing. This should be everything. Now, I don't know how well this is going to work. Sometimes it's a little weird with like certain blocks, you know, maybe there's sometimes stuff like this, you get stairs that face the wrong way or like, you know, things like that. But this should start doing its thing, one block at a time. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit, but you can see it's going, I mean, it's got a lot of shots. Like, we're good. This should be able to build the whole thing on one stack of gunpowder or less. And yeah, it actually looks like it is doing just fine with the fences and things. So I'm going to let this run for a while, and then we'll probably have to tweak a couple things that it might get wrong. And there we go. The windmill is done, it looks like. Now, we need to do a little bit of checking to make sure that everything actually worked properly, because there's a good chance that it didn't. Also, I am fairly sure that we are going to need a door. So, let's just toss a door on there. There we go. Okay, so first of all, I'm quite confident that this is probably not going to work right off the bat. We will test it and make sure, but I have a sneaking suspicion. Can I make this ender pearl shot? How good am I at ender pearls? That not bad. I'll take it. Okay, so here is our thing. It's a little hard to access right now, but that's fine. So what we'll do, let's just break you and break you, because those don't matter. But if I click this with a hand, it's actually working. Okay, I thought for sure that I was going to have to apply slime balls to this bearing, but it looks like it's actually working, and this thing is providing us rotational force. So outstanding. That okay. All right, even better than I expected. Cool. So yeah, this thing is now working great, it looks like. But what we need to do is, we've got a gearbox here. We need to get this gearbox to take this shaft, which is where all the rotational force is coming from, and bring it down. So let's pop down there. And the easiest way to do this, especially since I have feather falling, is probably just going to be to go straight up the middle like this. Oh, I can reach. And let's just do a little temporary block. There we go. So we now have our rotational force doing its thing. Did I get my shulker box back? Of course not. Come on. There we go. And we should probably get some torches in here as well, but I'll do that off camera. I'll I'll decorate the interior and stuff. But now we have this shaft that is providing all of our power 8,000 rotational force is a lot. Going back to water wheels, if you remember our talk about that earlier, water wheels produce up to, I don't remember, I think it's like at max capacity 100-ish rotational force. So this is like 80 water wheels just from this one single windmill. This should be able to power basically everything that we want to do in Create for probably the entirety of this mod pack. So yeah, fantastic. But we've got our windmill built. We are unfortunately out of time, so I think we're going to call this episode here. My friends, if you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Links in the description below, so check that out as well. Otherwise, my friends, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.